In September of the year 2000, the CEO of a $60 billion empire sat in his Dallas boardroom and literally laughed his guests out of the building. The guests were Reed Hastings and Mark Randolph, the founders of a struggling little startup called Netflix. They were practically begging Blockbuster to buy their company for $50 million. Blockbuster thought the idea of mailing DVDs was a joke. They passed. Today, Netflix is worth over $250 billion. Blockbuster has exactly one store left on the entire planet. This isn't just a story about technology changing. This is the story of the most expensive burst of laughter in corporate history and how a monopolistic giant was destroyed by its own arrogance. To understand the magnitude of this collapse, you have to remember what Blockbuster was in the 1990s. It wasn't just a store, it was an institution. It was the undisputed king of Friday nights. At its peak, Blockbuster operated over 9,000 stores worldwide. They had 65 million registered customers. A new store opened somewhere on the planet every 17 hours. They were so dominant, they felt completely untouchable. But their dominance created a fatal flaw. They started hating their own customers. Blockbuster didn't just make money from renting movies. Their secret weapon was the late fee. If you forgot to rewind your tape or brought it back a day late, you were slapped with a penalty. By the year 2000, Blockbuster was making $800 million a year, nearly 16% of their total revenue, strictly from punishing their customers. It was a brilliant short-term business model, but it built a foundation of massive resentment. And resentment is the perfect breeding ground for disruption. Enter Netflix. Founded in 1997, Netflix was everything Blockbuster wasn't. Instead of forcing you to drive to a store, they mailed DVDs directly to your house in iconic red envelopes. But their real genius wasn't the mail system. It was the subscription model. For a flat monthly fee, you could keep the movies as long as you wanted. No due dates, no driving in the rain, and most importantly, absolutely no late fees. But revolutionizing an industry is expensive. By the year 2000, the dot-com bubble had burst. Netflix was bleeding cash, losing over $50 million a year. They were on the verge of bankruptcy. Desperate, the founders flew to Dallas to meet with Blockbuster CEO John Antioco. They proposed a merger. Blockbuster would buy Netflix for $50 million, and Netflix would run the digital side of Blockbuster's empire. Antioco looked at the numbers, looked at the tiny startup, and laughed. He viewed Netflix as a niche business that was losing money. He told them to go home. It was the fatal mistake of a giant that thought the future would look exactly like the past. Surviving the rejection, Netflix went public and slowly built an army of loyal subscribers. But the real execution happened in 2007. Netflix realized that mailing physical plastic discs wasn't the future either. The internet was finally fast enough for video. They introduced Watch Now, the birth of modern streaming. Suddenly, the physical video store wasn't just inconvenient, it was obsolete. Why drive to Blockbuster when you could press a button on your remote? Blockbuster finally woke up, but it was too late. They tried to copy Netflix with their own online delivery and eliminated late fees to win back customers. But remember those $800 million in late fees? When Blockbuster removed them, their revenue collapsed overnight. They were trapped in a massive web of expensive real estate leases for thousands of physical stores, while Netflix lived entirely in the cloud. Blockbuster couldn't afford to innovate, and they couldn't afford to stay the same. The death spiral was brutal. In 2010, just 10 years after laughing at Reed Hastings in that Dallas boardroom, Blockbuster officially filed for bankruptcy. Their stock became worthless. Thousands of stores were liquidated. The company that once ruled the entertainment world was sold for parts to a satellite TV provider. Today, only one single Blockbuster store remains on Earth, operating as a nostalgic tourist trap in Bend, Oregon. Meanwhile, Netflix reshaped global culture, won Academy Awards, and commands a market cap of over $250 billion. The fall of Blockbuster is the ultimate lesson in corporate hubris. It proves that no matter how big your empire is, your past success does not guarantee your future survival. If you refuse to cannibalize your own business, someone else will happily do it for you. Blockbuster thought they were invincible right up until the end, but they aren't the only ones. If you want to see how the exact same arrogance destroyed the two biggest mobile phone giants on the planet the moment Steve Jobs walked on stage, you have to watch this video right here. Thanks for watching. This was Business Unmasked.